on. I believe one of the key things that today, if we want to look into new launches, welcome. All right, so we are live right now, and let me just do a quick check whether the video is running well. And if you can hear me and see me well, maybe you can just give me a shout out. One of the key things so that we want to look into new launches. Welcome. This is all right. So we are live right now. Okay, great. Just do a quick. All right, so we're live, and I really appreciate you guys joining me. So today I'm really going to cover. I mean, as you all have seen, there's so many different launches coming out, right? And I just want to do this quick one to kind of cover one of the most, I would say, iconic project that is ongoing, and it's none other than Promenade Peak. So if today you are kind of considering about Promenade Peak, I'm going to unveil a hidden secret, or shall I say a hidden layout concern that I have. And I'm going to share with you how today, if you are intending to go into the property market, I think one of the key factors is definitely about layout. And why? Because the layout of the property is going to allow you to understand how you're going to sell to your future buyers in the next time, right? And without that, then you may be only just going in very blindly, and you may not understand the key criteria of your next buyer. So one of the many discussions that we have with our clients is always about how are you going to exit this property. So shortly, I'm going to kind of unveil the Promenade Peak situation, and is the layout really a big concern, and will it be in trouble if, let's say, today you're going to buy that property? And so if this is your first time joining and you have already watched my videos but have not subscribed to this, I would really appreciate you to kind of just put in the subscribe button, as well as turn on the notification bell, so that every single time when we do any videos regarding the market, regarding new launch reviews like this, or maybe go even in depth of how the property situation is going to be in the next 3 to 5 years, you can actually follow through on our video shortly. All right. So I think this is a very crucial time in the property market. And why? Because there's a lot of adjustments, there's a lot of noises in the marketplace. And this could be a time where many of us, we are very confused of what you should be doing. And so if that is you out there, do also just maybe continue to watch videos like this of what we have put out in terms of education to get your knowledge up to date. And that will actually help you in your search for the property and how you're going to enter. So Promenade Peak isn't just another launch. It is actually the tallest residential tower in Singapore, and the pricing has really came out from the starting price from $2,680 per square foot, and this is right in the heart of Rivervale, right? So, but the key thing is that if you really dive in deeper into understanding the the layouts, the project information, there's a certain layout that may look very spacious, but if you really look into it, there's a certain percentage of lost space, and a lot of people would like to use the word wasted space. So later on, stay on throughout all the way to the video, because I'm going to share with you how we should be looking at property as a whole, and perhaps what you're seeing may not be something that you can accept, but give yourself the disclaimer now. All right, follow through and see whether that still makes sense at the end of this, especially if you are in the market right now, looking to re-enter the market, be it whatever reason, be it for own stay or for investments. I believe today's video is going to help you understand. And one of the reasons why, because today we are going to have quite a lot of launches out there, right? We're going to have quite a lot of launches out there, and with that, it also comes with a lot of confusion. Hey, should I wait for this one? Should I go for this? Or should I wait for future ones that comes up? You know, we're going to have a lot of lineup in terms of GLS supply coming up. And I believe this is also one of the reasons why we're getting a lot of inquiries in to kind of help them get clarity in terms of their property journey. Not about, oh, this is the new hype and I should just run into this. So in case you are also looking at Promenade Peak, you can also scan the QR code and seek a second opinion first. Why? Because I always believe that today, if you are going into property, you should not do it hastily. You should not go in because everybody is doing it, or you've been seeing it online, and then you kind of suddenly FOMO and you want to kind of, oh, I also want to buy somewhere. Okay, so the starting prices has really released, and also just take note that all these prices are starting from, which means they are at the lowest floor level that you should consider. How will the prices be released? It will only be on the booking day. If some of you who have not even maybe seen the show flat and you wanted to kind of have a private tour with me, well, do reach out, scan the QR code, and my team will get in touch with you, as we will be very, very busy also over the next few days, guiding our clients in on whether this project, Promenade Peak, is it something for you. So just to give you guys a quick overview, besides I'm going to dive in very deeply into the layout, and also what are the comparison of the layouts and how interesting the layouts are, that today, even if you're buying it, what are the things that you should take note of, all right, and not just, oh, because this is the Rivervale, I just want to jump into it. So we're going to do quite a fair bit of comparison. So we're going to cover the 2 bedrooms, the 3 bedrooms, as well as the 4 bedroom types, and we do a side-by-side comparison, not only just in Promenade Peak itself, but also in comparison to some of the neighbors. How do Promenade Peak actually stands out? So this video is going to be very insightful, and there's going to be a lot more content that you can take back with. All right, so just to give you guys a quick overview about what the development is about. Of course, this has been the tallest pure residential building, the Promenade Peak. So there are actually 2 levels. One is, of course, those at, let me just change the color a little bit, and is the Promenade Collections, which is from level 2 to 42, and as well as the Promenade Suite, which is, of course, the very atas, sometimes you got money also cannot buy kind of property, from 44th floor to 62th floor. So I believe what Promenade Peak has done is it actually stands out a lot by itself, because for the longest time we haven't been getting kind of a premium design type of properties, right? And Promenade Peak, the way that they structure, the way they design, less the layout. Okay, we'll come back into the layout later on, but as a whole, I believe this is a very classy premium product, right in the smack of Rivervale, and it has its charm, and not forgetting, of course, the height advantage of the views. And I believe the developer has also put in quite a fair bit of luxury to make this property a little bit more premium and stands out by itself, which is very lacking in today's marketplace. Because if you've been to one property type in the OCR, you kind of see it also in RCR. And if you see in RCR, likely the CCR also shows the same thing. So Promenade Peak kind of triggers a little bit of our bones to let us, shock a little bit. Or, of course, shocking in two sets. So we're going to cover that a little bit. So for Promenade Peak, right now, of course, we have the grand lap pool of, oops, now this is a little bit too thick. Okay, grand lap pool about 50 meters. The rest of the facilities are all full facilities. So, but I just want to cover the level 22 where you have your floating hammocks, luxury lounge. So I think one of the key advantage that you have in Promenade Peak is that because it's such a tall high rise, right? They actually have level 22, level 43, as well as your rooftop area for the consumers, for the public, for the residents to actually enjoy. And today I always ask, where are you able to get such a high floor development to actually enjoy your view with? So later on, we will also cover and share with you today, if let's say, if money is not a concern, right? And you really want to buy a lifestyle, you want to buy a luxury, at the moment when you open the door, you are actually welcomed by the view of Singapore. Then later on, I will give you a sneak preview of how it looks like on the 63rd floor, as well as those at the bottom. All right, so that you see which kind of view you prefer. But always remember, with a view, it definitely comes with a premium. It depends on how you weigh that premium. All right. So a quick overview about the location. Besides Promenade Peak, we are of course surrounded by this location. If you don't know where this is, then something is wrong. Great World City is just within walking distance. Singapore River is there. But I want to kind of stress a little bit is because of the transformation in this area that is up and coming, that there are future amenities in the RVG Parcel 2 as well as our Zion Grand. Okay, so these are all things to highlight one thing, which means if there are a lot of more new infrastructures and amenities in that location, then the transformation will continue And by you having a property there in the next 5 years or so, definitely the entire area will be transformed. And that will help in what? It will definitely help in terms of your exit plan to actually command a better value in future. But even so, for this property, I would say that it's a very lifestyle area. If you have not followed and watched my previous video that I talked about the CCR kind of context of our living habits has already changed. And out of all the projects that I've actually researched on, the River Valley areas of the projects coming out has more advantages than you ever know. So if you have not, just follow through the videos that I put it up later on, and you can actually go and watch my analysis on it and why this location is going to be fill in a blank now. I'll go and watch the video first. Okay, all right, so go and watch the video. All right, so because of this area, I believe one of the key thing is that a lot of people are always looking for certain amenities. They are always looking out for certain convenience. All right, and this area kind of giving you quite a fair bit of all this to allow you to have a proper family lifestyle and family living. So we already have the price matrix as usual. We always want to kind of gauge what's the estimated prices. Of course, do take note that all these prices are also subject to what? The actual launch, actual booking. So if today you have not visited the show flat and you require somebody to kind of provide you a second opinion and guide you along, do reach out to us and we will guide you through on what is a reasonable, realistic figure that you should be looking at. Okay, a lot of times, sometimes because of your own expectations, you like the project, you wanted to buy, you have the funds for it, but because of your own expectations, maybe you put it a bit too low, and when the prices came out too high, you find that it's overpriced. So let us dabble on the pricing, the PSF, when we are in our consults one-on-one. Later on, I will also be sharing with you a little bit of some of the prices comparison for the 2, 3, and 4 bedroom as well. So this is just a quick overview of a pricing matrix. So some of the information, this developer is by All Green. So All Green is not a new developer. They have done quite a fair bit of projects. And one of them, if you can remember, is at Royal Green. Royal Green is at Bukit Timah. So this is also by them. So this property is 477 car park lots with total units 596. But you are still walking distance to the train station, right? So car park lots is going to be a luxury in time to come. But still, if you buy a property here, you also expect you have a car park lot. Okay, and with the number of units breakdown, I believe the All Green developers have done quite a good job in having a good balance. The majority of them are still holding on to the 2-bedroom types. Okay, if you can see, the number of the bigger volume of units is still there. Largely, I think the demographic of River Valley area, many of them are still looking at rental as well. So I will believe the 2-bedroom and 2+ study would also move fast. But that says, based on my research in that area of the transactions and the prices and the rental, right, you don't be surprised that the 3-bedroom as well as the, let's just change the color there. Okay, the 3-bedroom type and the 3-bedroom premium are actually very limited in terms of numbers. And when there's a limitation of numbers, meaning people also want to buy. Why? Because you are not only just buying a normal project right now. This is a premium product that you are you potentially have the chance to own the tallest building in Singapore, depending on the floor level how that you buy. Okay, of course, if money is not a concern, hey, go man. I would say that the sky's the limit for you. So I think there's a very good breakdown. Just take note that some of the units like the 3-bedroom premium as well as the 4-bedroom premium and the 5-bedroom premiums, they are all starting from the 44th floor onwards. Right? So that's why you can see that there's a certain limited number of units. But that says, even if you want to go for a normal 3-bedroom, which is 1033 square feet to 1076 square feet, you still have about 80 units that you can go for. So I believe the highest take-up rate definitely will still be the 2-bedroom and 2+ study. And the lower floor units will definitely be the one that people will still buy first. But that's where your comparison of which level, what type of properties you should go for comes in when we're doing our one-on-one. Because the other than Promenade Peak, okay, so I do expect that there will be people who will be either price out based on your affordability, or your ballot number is not as good. That's why you're unable to choose a unit. Then the next question you will ask is, hey, which one should I go for? Because besides Promenade Peak, we also have River Green that's going to be launching at the same day. So what is your thought? Will you be going for River Green or Promenade Peak at the same weekend? Okay, so many times I do advise my clients not to do the put everywhere and then hope for the best. Okay, because when you hope for the best, there's a certain risk involved. So if you are in that kind of situation and you do not know how to navigate yourself, let's have a chat. Okay, let us get you clearer in terms of your directions and how we should navigate in terms of placing your opportunity, or not tikam and then hope that things come. Right? Because why? Because besides River Green, we also have let me just change the color. So besides River Green, all right, there's also the Prominent Peak that is supposed to launch. All right, but besides these two, then we also have what? We have the Grand Zion, and then we have the Guaco Land unit that is going to be launching within this year and next year. So then you also need to take all this into consideration. That one thing is that would it be an oversupply in that location? You know, with so many units coming out suddenly, are we going to have a massive oversupply? So these are all things that you need to look at, especially if, let's say, today you're looking at the midterm. Okay, when I define midterm, we're talking about maybe 4 to 6 years. Okay, that's called midterm. Then your strategy, is this location the best strategy for you? Or we may want to reassess that and revisit that again to give you more in-depth understanding. And not forgetting, we also have Parcel C that has not been released for tender yet, but total, there's going to be quite a fair bit of supply in the marketplace. One thing to take note also is that because for Guaco Land, okay, they are under the central area, which is without the 85 square meter ruling. All right, and they only need to keep 20% of their units above 70 square meters, which means that today, if let's say you want to go into the central region, right, chances are the number of units are going to be more. So to give you a fun fact, right, actually for River Green, I mean, of course, this video is not about River Green, right? So River Green, right, although now you can see that they are able to build 524 units, the original plan is actually only 380 because of the guideline. But because River Green, as well as future Guaco Land, as well as the new Parcel C, they are going to be falling under the central area, which means they are able to maximize their number of units. And I believe even for Guaco Land, do you think they will maximize their land for more units? So that's why we are definitely going to see over 1,000 units coming up in this entire area, which will it be a concern basing on the supply and demand? That one we have to dive in deeper when we are going through your one-on-one consult with us. Also, I will also give you a quick overview about Prominent Peak, right? So at the moment, if you understand where the direction and everything is, we are in a north-south facing kind of configuration, and you have full facilities. So I'm not going to cover too much on that, but based on the layout, everything is very structured, regular shape in terms of the layout, and nothing fancy, nothing scary for you. But it's the actual layout that is a little bit questionable to some extent. But I want you all to really watch on, because it may be unacceptable when you first see it. But then if you understand the logic behind, to understand why this was done this way, then perhaps you see it from a different perspective. All right, so my role as your advisor is always let us understand from a different perspective first before we make a decision, shall we? Also, don't close up first. Or open your mind a little bit, open-minded. Okay, so for the facing, of course, to Zion Promenade, then we all know that these are all the north facing, and these are all facing the river. If you are getting too high floor, you cannot really see the river when you go to the balcony and see. So if you ask me, if you're basing on the north facing, actually you don't need to go too high. Or you don't need to go too high, because you can enjoy a lower floor units and you still have the luxury of the river facing and kind of a semi-unblocked view. Then, of course, your Kim Sing Road here, this is to your east, okay, to your east facing, and these are all, of course, you're facing the Mirage, the Tribeca, all these properties. And there's definitely a distance. There's still a distance away of the gap. Then your south facing, okay, your south facing is also a distance. Okay, later on we will take a look on the other side, and on the west side. So you're also facing an open space area. So the question is, sometimes when we buy a property, especially for new launches, you may be buying just based on the plan, and the show model is so nice, but you may not understand what is actually happening around that location, or should I say surrounding. So let me just pull your uh, area, right? Your attention to where the maps are. So let us take a look, right? Let's say today you just want to go to Promenade Peak, right? Just to give us a quick overview of, let's say today based on the master plan, right? Are there any other areas of the let me just try to see this. Okay, wait, Promenade Peak. Let me just do this. All right, so this is the one of the AI tools that we have to allow us to zone into where this actual location is. And if you can see, the place that is marked blue color is where the Promenade Peak is. Also, you have outwards, which is the Singapore River, as well as your Great World City, okay, outwards. And then to your right side is where your Mirage, as well as your Tribeca and all your other properties like Rivervale. So I think one of the key things, because you're buying such a tall building, right, you also want to see, hey, do I really get the unblocked view in future? That's what most of us, when we want to pay a premium, we also want to have certain certainty. And that's when we look at the newest master plan draft, you can take a look at the plot ratio for Prominent Peak is actually 5.6. But Zion Grand is also 5.6. So this information will allow you to understand that today, if I want to go and get a south-facing Prominent Peak, chances are the in front block of yours will still also be blocked. So do you really want to go the very high floor units? But that says, could the pricing there be much more attractive? Okay, so these are all trade-offs, and if we can think it, I believe the developer also have a certain pricing strategy to make sure that some of the units are attractive enough to let you purchase, even if in front of you is being blocked. Okay, because we all agree that today you want the unblocked view to your north or to your east, you may definitely need to pay a premium. So the better price unit, if you ask me, definitely based on the based on the pricing, right? The sensitivity of pricing will definitely be A, as well as B, and followed by C, and then of course your D will be the more premium ones. And this is also why the placement of layouts are also this way. And also, let's say for example, for the west side, one thing that you also need to know also in the west side, chances are you're also getting an unblocked view, because the west side, if you can see this E means it's educational zone. Okay, so it's going to be bound for education. So if you are intending to get a high floor unit unblocked, you can also consider the west facing. And again, you need to also accept the fact that it's a west facing. So will pricing be more attractive if it's west, but it's unblocked? We can only know whether on the day itself. Then we'll be able to guide you through, okay, which kind of facing is within your affordability that we can optimize it to your advantage. All right, so these are just some of the homework usually we do when we are guiding our clients in. So typically, they are all stacked up quite well. So this is actually the layout. Okay, so this is north facing. So this is how I place it so that you all can see better. So if you look at all the north facing units, right, we have stack 2 to stack 4, right? These are the 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom types. Also, these are the 3 that is north facing. And if you talk about east facing, then you'll start seeing we have stack 5, stack 6, as well as 7 and 8. All right, so this is how we see it. All right, these are all the 2 plus study, 1 plus study, and we have the 1 plus study and 2 plus study on the other block as well. So these are all the east facing. And if you want the south facing, which is going to be facing Zion Grand in future, then you have stack 11 and stack 10, which is the 2 bedrooms. And the west facing is stack 12 as well as stack 1. So I believe the developer has cleverly also kind of did the structuring to try to cover the most ideal view with the most units. Okay, if you can see. And the not so ideal, generally, generally a lot of homeowners, we prefer not to have west sun or block view. They kind of keep it as little units as possible. If you can see how it goes, right? There's only 2 units. Okay, 1, 2, that's west facing, as well as 3, 4, which is going to be future block unit. Okay, so of course that's why I think this is also the reason the layouts are a little bit more, okay lah, the keyword is unique. Okay, let's use it. The keyword is unique layout, and we're going to study very in depth into all the different types as we go forward. And this is only from the what, level 2 to level 42. Okay, this is only level 2 to 42, because from 4th onwards, okay, from the floor level of 44 onwards, because 43 is a facilities area, right? So then 44 onwards to 62, wow, the layout changed already. That's why you can see all the premium units all come in. All right, and these are also the same facing, right? So if we take a look and we break it down again, so we have the north facing, which is stack 1, stack 3, as well as stack 1 and stack 3, and then stack 6 and wait, let me just do this. Stack 6 and stack 8. This is facing east side. Or then your west, your north, south. Okay, this is south view, and then we have the west view. So again, they are trying to give you the best, which is the north facing, as well as the east facing. Or you have 2 units. I think this is cleverly, purposely done one. This is my analysis from how they structure their layout, so that there's a least resistance in terms of acceptance. So that means developers, they can price it a little bit more attractive, higher in that sense. Attractive to them, may not be attractive to us. And you have less resistance to purchase, because, hey, if I want the view, I will pay for it. Okay, I think this is one of the key things. So let us take a look at, let's say today you really, if money is not a concern and you really want the lifestyle, you want a certain premium entity, and you want a project that you can call and shout out to everyone that you know and invite them to your place. The moment when you open the door, you see the night view of Singapore on a normal daily life. I think that is sometimes money also cannot buy. I always call those kind of view $1 million view. It's true, and because today, how many chance do you actually have to purchase such a iconic property in such a good location where it's being supported? Okay, if you have not watched my previous video, go and watch it. I call it the support logic. Okay, they are supported by the 3 support logics that I've shared, and it makes a lot of sense for me to even hold this property for midterm, or even if I want to hold it a little bit longer term. I believe this property will have its sexiness. Okay, it should be the right word. Because why? Because you're getting a view like this. Okay, this is the stack 1, stack 3, and stack 6, which is the north facing. Okay, so this is the kind of unblocked view you're going to get. Of course, this is the roof terrace you can still hit up to. And if you are talking about the east facing, this is where your Mirage Tower and everything, you're way above every other properties nearby. Okay, later on we'll do a comparison. And today you can see even in the south view. Of course, in front of you will definitely be Grand Zion. Okay, Zion Grand or Grand Zion, depending on the name. All right, you will also be kind of in front of you, but still, before it's been done, you know, potentially 1 year maybe you are able to still enjoy the view. Okay, and of course you have the west facing. I mean, regardless of the west sun, right? If you are able to enjoy a sunset view like this, Singapore, where to see sunset? You can see at the comfort of your place. Okay, I think this is something, of course, depending on the pricing also. But if you are not looking at such a high floor, then let us maybe explore maybe even a 40th floor. So 40th floor is already tremendous, if you ask me. Okay, 40th floor, based on why we use 40th floor, because 40th floor, then you start to have a little bit more units. Okay, you have more units that you can consider. And this one is actually at stack 2 to stack 4. Okay, you have 3 units to choose from. And it's not bad, even at 40th floor for the east view. Okay, you will have your Mirage Tower and everything in front of you, but still decent. All right, still decent. and your south view, as well as your west view. Also, just take note that this is the educational area, or this is the educational area. And so today, even if you are able to purchase at 40th floor, sometimes some people will share that 40th floor, is it high enough or not? If you compare surrounding, your 40th floor is really higher than most others. That's why Promenade Peak is a very interesting project, and I believe a lot of homeowners, if let's say you're really going for Promenade Peak, you may be falling into the trap of what? Overpaying for each floor level. Okay, I want to be very upfront and transparent. You really you need a different strategy if you are doing Promenade Peak versus a lot of the other projects that is of lower floors. Okay, so you need to play this game very carefully. If not, you potentially are getting a higher floor, but you could be overpaying it a lot because a lot of your neighbors are just at 36th floor. So how much premium does the other 30 floors command is where we will need to do the math. We will need to do the comparison to find a sweet spot that today when you buy in, it is not, I mean, it's still a premium. You're buying a premium, but the premium is not crazy enough that you're unable to sell it. I think this is one of the key factor. Okay, a lot of homeowners make the mistake because they just, just want to go in and just want to buy, but they did not take note of their exit strategy in future. All right, so this is something to really kind of bounce off with every one of you. All right, yeah. So if you cannot get the 40th floor, then never mind, just go to the 20th floor. Also not too bad. You see, 20th floor, I think especially for the north facing, it's okay to go for lower floors. Why? Because you're enjoying a further away of distance, and you have your river in front of you, and I think that is also considered a different lifestyle. So height is not for everybody. That's why we need to kind of work with you to see what kind of parameters can we work with to hit your objective. And even if east view, not too bad. Yeah. So some view, I wouldn't say that you shouldn't pay a premium for view. It is a consideration factor, but it should not be your only factor to consider to buy Promenade Peak. Okay, I stress again. There should be other criteria that we should put in, all right, to discuss to optimize your property's advantage. That's what I was saying. So the south view, okay, this one will be generally blocked, okay, and the west view. Okay, so I think these are practically, even for the west view, you still get your Singapore River view. I mean, it's still decent. So again, if let's say today you are going for Promenade Peak, you may want to kind of re-strategize a little bit and see how things can be. So let us move forward very quickly into the 2 bedrooms. Okay, 2 bedrooms. So today, if you have not subscribed to the channel and you have been following me and you like the video so far about my analysis and what I've shared with you with my own personal opinion and of my years of experience, must continue to watch on the video, because later on, besides doing the comparison for 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and 4 bedroom, with the layout comparison, how we are able to get around the layout situation, which everybody is talking about it, and are we really in trouble if we are buying this kind of layout in Promenade Peak? Okay, we're going to study this very detailed later on, as well as on the last part, I'm going to share with you, if let's say today you're really going into a new launch, what are the traps that you are potentially heading yourself into and how you can avoid them. So you want to stay on throughout, and if not, click on the button or to subscribe to the video, as well as turn on the notification bell. All right, let's get this to it. Okay, so the layout, if you talk about 2 bedrooms, they are generally quite typical, or you can't go too far in terms of the layout type. It's just that it's about the facing, okay, which kind of facing you can go for. So I have no much explanation for most of the layouts for the 2 bedrooms. Okay, they are all basically we call it a corridor 2 bedroom layout, right? Instead of the dumbbell layout that you have seen. But besides that, I think the rental in this location is still commanding very well. Later on, we will also do a quick comparison based on pricing, based on rental at the same time. So let us just use an average. Let's say Promenade Peak at level 30 is going to be about $3,000 per square foot. So we have done a comparison that if let's say today level 30 is at $3,000 per square foot, for the pricing, we should be about slightly close to 2 million. Baseline close to 2 million. So the next thing we want to do is we want to do a comparison. So we'll compile some of all this in the neighbor's property. And of course, we cannot use a too old property to compare. I think this is very unfair. So we want to bring out the closer, youngest property to kind of do a comparison. Why? Because even the youngest property right now, there's a huge difference already. Why? Because one is harmonized, one is not. So this also gives us a good indicator to highlight when we are going into the projects. One of the key things that I always share is always buy your properties that is relevant, that is current, so that in future you can sell to the next buyer. You don't want to uphold your own thought process about what you have, what you used to do, or 10 years ago, the audience base, and now it's totally different. So you want to keep your property refreshed every single time into the market, so that it's easier for you to sell to the new group of buyers, the new group of audiences, because they are getting younger and younger. So the audience base is very different from how you used to buy property 20, 30 years ago, right? And then now if you use the 20, 30 years ago strategy today to buy the property, not that it's incorrect, but there may be a certain trade-off that we need to accept before we move forward. All right, so like based on this, right, let's say we just look at Orwell Hill residences, we just recently also just TOP, right? You can see that their prices in terms of their quantum. So let's say we base on, let's say 3,000 for 30th floor, right? Is not even 2 million. Orwell Hill currently, which is not harmonized, has already transacted above 2 million. Okay, so there's a certain price gap that you are seeing, and these are all what 2-bed 1-bath, 2-bed 2-bath actually, 2-bed 2-bath configuration, 667 square feet. But they are not harmonized, but there's already a certain price gap. So you're buying below the current price, which is definitely a safety net that you need to set yourself for every single time when you're going into the property market. All right, and let's say we use another example, which is the Rivervale. Okay, of course, Rivervale is just beside. Let me just use the smaller. Yeah, Rivervale. So if you use a 13th floor, remember now going into a $3,000 per square foot, it maybe it's hovering about 30th floor lah. We are just using it as a benchmark, right? Then today, if you're going in a 13th floor unit at 2.32 million, hey, there's a $350,000 price gap, because somehow for Jakim, people like the area, maybe they love Zouk so much, they want to own a piece of Zouk, right? You know, the prices are already hovering what? 2.3 million easily. And these are all transacted prices, meaning buyers already committed to purchase all this. Okay, of course, give and take, if you can see the size are a little bit bigger, definitely. So that is also equates to the pricing. But based on livability, our property right now in Promenade Peak is what? It's harmonized, which means there's lesser wasted space. And we draw attention to another one, which is the Avenue. Okay, so Avenue, we're using a 30th floor compared to a lower floor unit. Hey, the lower floor unit, I mean, just use different color, right? The lower floor unit at 4th floor already transacted at 2.7 million. 2.7 million, you see, in March. And that means the gap to what we have is almost 730,000. So this price gap, right, is really important for us to determine also, like today, how should you enter the property market? It's not just about, oh, I love this location, or I got this price point, I can buy anything I want. I mean, give and take. If you want to do that, fine. But so our role is really to kind of give you another set of equations, another set of criteria to safeguard yourself in the event, if let's say today you intend to hold this property for, and touch wood, something happened in the market that it prevents you from selling. Are you able to hold on to this property and still upkeep its value over time? So that is the risk that we are lowering down for you as we put in more parameters before we even decide on the property. And that's a lot of work that we usually do. So let me share with you another example. Let's say today, if let's say I say we don't go for 30th floor, we base on the lowest floor, which is their starting from price. Okay, they're starting from price. So which means a 2-bedroom should be hovering about maybe about 1.8 million. Okay, this is just an estimate, because we do need to use some numbers to do some comparison. And if you look at Orwell here, right, residences, for their 2 bed, 1 bath. Sorry, yeah, there are 2 bed, 1 bath, right? 2 bed, 2 bath, sorry. It's already at 1.93 million. That means even at their lowest starting price versus what has already been transacted, which is nearby, meaning there's a support logic behind. So if you don't understand what is support logic, go and watch my previous video. I explained to you what the support logic means. And this is very crucial, especially today you are entering into a location where there's going to be more supply coming in. How can you put your property in a safer zone than others who have higher risk than you? All right, so this is why I always very kiasu kiasi whenever we do our advice. So again, same thing. If let's say we're talking about a 13th floor, which is already transacted at 2.32 million for Rivervale, there's a 520,000 price gap. So we did some of all these comparisons so that you can see it better. And for Avenue, of course, the quantum is 900,000 square, 9,000 gap. And so the larger the gap you have, doesn't it mean that you have more safety? Correct. So when you have more safety, it also allows you to position your property in a nice way. Because today, do I need to sell 2.7 million when I just buy at 1.8 million? So let's say, for example, today, if we look at give me a second, let me just switch the screen. Yeah. So the key thing is that today, if you have already purchased the property at, people already purchased the property today at 2.7 million. And today, you are only entering at 1.8 million. What is the gap in between? You have almost 900,000. So those who purchased, so can you imagine the person who bought at 2.7 million? Let's say we talk about 5 years later. How much do they need to sell for? They need to sell what? 3 million? 3.1 million. Correct? And has this price been tested in the market yet? Okay, it's still a big question mark. So anything that has not been tested in the market, right, which is why I emphasize on the support logic. If there's no support in the area, then you are the only one who goes in, or maybe a few of you goes in to try to pull the prices to 3 million to 3.1 million in the next couple of years. What are the risks involved? Maybe what are the risks involved in order for that to happen? But today, if let's say you are entering the property, the property price at 1.8 million, even if the market is at your favor, do you, and at the favor, let's say, wow, this property really can command at 3 million. Do you really need to sell at 3 million? Of course, the higher the better, right? But in the event everybody is also trying to sell at 3 million, can you also just exit at a lower price at 2.7 of what other people purchase, so that you can exit very safely? So this is what we are talking about in terms of project, our support logic to help us in our next plan. Not that you are going to do it, but you still need to have a thought process of, okay, if let's say today I'm not going to hold on to this property, can I sell this easier? Is there a certain fundamental for the next buyer to buy from me, instead of just guessing away or hoping that my prices can go up? And a lot of times when we are doing this, right, we also start seeing comparisons. So this layout is also one of our 5 criteria in our REI method that we guide our clients in when we are doing comparison. So in one hand, right, you can see a well-heeled property type, and the one that in Promenade Peak is somehow very similar. Okay, but remember, Promenade Peak is already harmonized. So when it's harmonized, meaning the efficiency usage of space is not wasted. So both are very similar. And would you want to pay additional for almost the same layout? Correct. So this is why when we are doing comparison, we cannot just only look at Promenade Peak. You need to start looking at the nearby resale as well as the nearby new launch. Okay, not the future ones, but the current ones. Is this going to be an upside for the comparison? All right, so this is very important. So the next thing that I'm going to share with you is also 3-bedroom. Okay, 3-bedroom, I think, the 2+ study. 2+ study configuration is a little bit more interesting. Okay, because of, again, I shared the thing that the developer is trying to achieve is to give you the best facing possible, because it's been a high rise, they are commanding demanding definitely the higher floor units. And that's also one of the reasons why they kind of have a very unique layout that is seldom seen. Oh, so if you start seeing this kind of layout, you'll be like, hey, this is not your typical 2+ study layout. Okay, let's study like even the show flat layout. Or so some of us, we may be thinking, oh, hey, come in like a little bit wasted space here. But that's why the developer, what they have done is, because they done this harmonized, they're able to optimize the space to not reduce the efficiency level, the comfort of a property. You're still getting very reasonable space for your normal daily lifestyle. So, but what I see is that this area of the study, right, although they indicate this as a study, you may not necessarily need to do it as a study. Why? What is the number one problem always we have when we are getting a 2-bedroom, a 2+2? It's always storage. Okay, it's always the storage situation where we don't have enough. So if you double this up as a storage space, right, and you make it into a feature wall, I believe the entire area will, you do not need to clutter too much of your items in this development. And with the island concept that they have, the open concept kitchen, it actually frees up the entire space, which means the moment when you come into the property, you are getting this whole space. Because today you are buying a property in Rivervale, you are getting, depending on your viewing, most of them will be unblocked, okay, even in the lower floors. You want to, the moment when you open the door, you want to kind of see through your balcony. I think that is what we call lifestyle. And the developer has purposely done so that you're facing towards the different directions can be optimized in terms of a view. And your room size, everything is very comfortable. Even your master room is at 12.8, and your normal common room, which can definitely fit a queen bed, is at 9 meters, 9 square meters. So the rest of the layout are very typical. That means you can always double this up as your store. Okay, double up as store, and the rest of it is somehow similar. But one thing that I want to also draw your attention, right, is that today, based on this tree layout, right, one of the key things that I want to draw attention is that you do realize that their balcony space is only 4.8, 4.4, 4.4. Okay, I share with you why this is important. Because in order to compensate some of the space, right, to provide you, they reduce the balcony size. So how many of you agree with me? You all can actually type in the chat that sometimes you have the balcony, but you really don't use it, but still we're paying for it. Okay, I'm not saying that you shouldn't consider properties with no balcony, because it has become a norm somehow. But if let's say today you are having a giant a 6 square meter kind of balcony space, or even 8 square meters, sometimes we have seen before, your reluctance of using it is very, very high. Okay, so but what the developer has done is that they want this balcony to be a little bit more chillax. Okay, it's definitely not big enough for you to put in like a big dining table, but it's a kind of a cozy corner, which I believe we should appreciate, because you are now facing the river, you're facing an unblocked view. Imagine if you hide out, hey, then you can have a chill out session in the balcony area. If you want to fit in a dining, I believe it's a little bit tight, or so, but you can do like breakfast counter. Okay, breakfast counter, kind of sitting or high stool. I think that will be a very different kind of vibe as you're doing it. So the layout wise, I believe there's still a lot of ways to go around it. Many people, when they buy certain properties, they always kind of fixated on, oh, this is how my property is going to be. Just remember, we can be a little bit more creative sometimes. Okay. All right. So also, we also did a price point. If let's say on the 30th floor, okay, averagely, let's say at 3,000 per square foot, based on the size of 700 over square feet for the 2+ study, that means their price range is about 2.3 million there, about plus minus, depending on how much they are going to launch. So if we do a comparison for a while here, right, there are 2-bed, 2-bath. And this is 2-bed, 2-bath, no study. Okay, no study. Their sizes are smaller because of no study, and their sub-sale, which is recently just transacted in May, is already hovering at 2.23 million. Okay, 2.23 million already. So today, you're buying a bigger unit with study at 2.3 million. So there's a certain support that people already accept that today I can buy a 2 bed 2 bath at about 2.3 million, which means today you're very safe to also purchase the same 30th floor unit at 2.3 million. Does it make sense? So even for Riviera, okay, Riviera, of course, again, their lower floors and no study already transacted at 2.3 million. So this is the factor that you need to really understand, that this support logic does not play out in every location. It's not every new launch you will be able to find this support logic. And when you have this support logic, it acts as a what? Safety net for you. It acts as a safety net for you. So even Riviera, right? Avenir, right? Of course, size bigger lah. 2.7 million people accept. Low floor, no study. 408 price gap. So the bigger the price gap, same concept. That means the safer you are, because you do not need to sell higher. You can always sell lower in terms of your price to exit the property. And we also do a comparison. If let's say they're starting from their lowest pricing, just to use an estimate, they should be hovering about 2.1 plus million. And that says for your well-heeled residences, people are already accepting at 2 million. Okay, a 2 million smaller unit, no non-harmonized. And for Riviera, no study is already 2.3 plus million. Okay, 2.3 plus million. And then for Avenir, no study, bigger size, but 500 plus thousand gap. All right, so this is definitely something that we always do in our private consults with our clients, because there's just so many properties out there, right? That is so confusing sometimes when you're doing comparison. And this kind of confused matter state, right? You'll be worse during your booking day. Because if you have not done enough homework beforehand, or you don't have anybody to guide you through a comparison research before your booking day, you are going to be in trouble, because you will be buying based on two things. Hype. Okay, you will definitely be buying based on hype, because you're there already. And the second thing that you will fall into the trap is FOMO. Okay, everybody buy, you don't buy. You're already there. You see, so but this kind of, unfortunately, this is how it works. And that's the reason why whenever we are guiding our clients in, right, we do a lot of preparation of work before the booking day starts, so that you are well prepared. You know very well what kind of range of pricing, what kind of floor level, what kind of layout that you're going to go for, which kind of facing, to be very clear in our objective. Then during the price release on the booking day, we are there to help you to support, because we also don't have the pricing, only under the actual day. But actual day, when it comes, that's where the real quick numbers come in, because we need to be on the spot to help you to see if a higher floor unit and a lower floor unit, they are almost the same price, which facing should we go for? Maybe the higher floor one, the almost same price, but it's higher floor, but it's west facing, should we take that? So there's a lot of permutation, a lot of scenarios that may came out on that day of the booking. And if you're in panic mode, that's why people make mistakes. They choose the wrong unit. And recently, I also have people who reach out. I don't want to say the project name. Reach out because they bought the property. 3 days, just 3 days, they decided to give it up. I also don't know why. So the actual words coming out from the clients is that they did not know what they are doing. Okay, they just buying based on hype. So let's not waste money just like that. To give out your deposit is still cash, it's still money that you work very hard with. So why not give yourself permission to spend some time before the actual booking to do some research, to really plan out well. Give yourself a chance. Seek a second opinion before you decide to even put in a check. Okay, not put already, then decide what to do. Okay, I always stress that it's kind of impossible for people to do that. So I also don't know why there are people doing that. Okay, I hope that if any one of you are watching and you did fall into this kind of trap before, give yourself permission that, hey, property is not to rush in. Okay, there's still certain parameters, there's still certain criteria that we should have to form the fundamentals of property, so that whatever we are buying today, we can exit in future. All right. So let us move forward with a 3-bedroom. So now this 3-bedroom is where it gets interesting. All right. So it's the 3-bedroom in Promenade Peak going to be in trouble. What do every one of you think when you see layout like this? Okay, so give and take, the 3 layout, of course, I think the one that most people are talking about is the C2. Okay, everybody is talking about a C2 unit. But let us just look at C1 now. So if you cannot accept C2, then you can go for C1 unit, which is typically also not too bad. All right, so the layout for C1 is generally a very typical. We have your walk-in entrance, which you can definitely do your cabinet space. Okay, I think the space is very good enough. And the key thing difference is now all green developer is trying to swap the narrative. Okay, so a lot of times when we go into a property is you head into the kitchen first, correct? But this time round, they switch it to you are really entering into a living hall and dining area. So which kind of property can you recall that actually this should be the norm? This should be the norm of us buying a property. Okay, because for the longest time, it has been the norm that we go in and then we see kitchen, right? But I don't know whether how many of you can remember, maybe, I don't know how many years, 10 plus 20 years ago, that this is not the norm that we understand. We always go in and then we go to the living hall first, correct? Even our HDBs are done that way. If you look at the older properties, they all go in, it's the dining, the living area first. Always living and dining all together. But somehow along the line, things being blurred because of the efficiency of layout, they need to reconfigure. Then suddenly we become what? Kitchen first. So this developer, I think they are trying to change the narrative of how property have been seen. And if they are the one that does this first, okay, so this is what's going to happen. And people start to purchase this property. Maybe this is the start of new layouts where we will start seeing living hall and dining first, then kitchen. Wouldn't that be also a good thing for us? Okay, so that's why I say that don't ignore this kind of layout, because this is the layout that is a norm. Okay, it's supposed to be a norm layout. And why is this good? Because everybody who comes in and then you go to your living hall and that's where your entertainment starts. And they are very cleverly done this layout. That's why I'm very impressed by what All Green has done, right? Is that they make this entire area, okay, practically into a what? Entertainment space. And you don't just get a 3-seater, you can actually have a very comfortable, conversation here. All right, it is like an extended living area. Of course, for this configuration, they kind of put their dining here, which is later on I'll share with you. I will not, if let's say if I have this unit, I will not put the dining here because it's neither here nor there. But I will also share with you later on how we can kind of do the layout a little bit so that it becomes a little bit more common and you can accept. And that what they have done well is they actually tuck the entire kitchen one side. So you do not get disturbed from the kitchen. And this layout is another set of things to highlight is that their balcony area. The way they did this, I think is very interesting. So the only developer that I know that does this is Hoi Hak. Okay, that's one of their kind of signature, right? Where the balcony is go to balcony. The balcony goes to the living area as well as the kitchen side. So this is kind of their signature. So if you know, you can go and see some of the developments in Continuum. Okay, Continuum also has layout like this. So what All Green has done is maybe pick a little bit of this idea and that idea, and then they kind of mash it up together. And I think this is very cleverly done. So the idea that they wanted to is to have this breakfast counter just right by the kitchen area, so you don't kind of waste the space. And if you ask me, I would definitely want to move the dining into the balcony area. Okay, why do I say so? So even if you are getting a lower floor unit, okay, you're not getting the super high floor unit, I think it makes a lot more sense. First, the balcony space is comfortable enough. You can actually have a long table. And most importantly, you are there, you can enjoy the luxury of the area. You are able to see Singapore River, and if you're high up enough, you have the unblocked view. Then you want to make use of that area that you paid so much for, correct? So if you ask me, I would definitely move my dining to the balcony area, and it's an extended balcony, which means that I can actually play with it, play with the space quite a fair bit, easy. And coming in, of course, you for a 3-bedroom, I think what cleverly done this property is that they also have a household shelter. Okay, the only thing that may lack in a normal 3-bedroom here is, of course, your yard area. Okay, your yard area, which is likely you're going to use this for your yard area or the outdoor balcony area. Yeah, so I think one of the norm for a lot of the 3-bedrooms is no yard, no WC already. Okay, so they all will use the common toilet. I think we can't help it. This is the progression of layout, progression of size limitations, and limitation, of course, our money in the pocket. Okay, if we want bigger size, then we have to pay more for those. And if we really look back, do we really use so much of the yard area in the WC? A lot of people, they change the WC into a storage area. So if you ask me, storage is actually more important. Okay, storage is definitely more important than the WC. Yeah, how much time do you spend in the toilet that you need a specific WC? I always question myself that. Okay, it's like, how come they make their toilet so big? What is it they make so fancy about their toilet? Hey, you go in, you don't sleep inside. So, but this is my own narrative, this is my own point of view. So please don't judge me. Okay, please don't judge me. Like here, this is more for discussion's sake. But how many of you actually got this thing before? Like, why do I always want to do up a toilet and they're so nice? Okay, yeah it's luxury but hotel you go hotel nicer But at home, I think I will definitely want to spend more effort on the livable area, or where I will spend most time in. So storeroom definitely something that I believe is much more of a necessity nowadays, or in a 3-bedroom. So if 3-bedroom don't have a storage, it's going to be a little bit tight. Okay, it's going to be a tight. Then the interesting part is that then the C2 layout. Wow. Okay, C2 layout is, what's the first thing that you saw? I think everybody, I think you all can acknowledge also then you all will see this. Wow, say giant long corridor. Okay, this is the very first thing that when I was sharing this with some of my community and my inner circle group, right? Then they were like, hey, how come this one so long? So okay, before we even jump into this, first of all, you need to understand this is a harmonized project, which means even though there's certain wasted space here, okay, it is harmonized. So which means your other areas, are they being compromised? They are not being compromised at all. Okay, give and take. For this configuration, the only thing that I won't say hiam is that the kitchen space for the 3-bedroom could be a little bit small. It's 7.3, even for the C1 is 7.3. Okay, this may be a little bit tight, okay, if you ask me. But well, based on the living lifestyle and audiences right now, do we really need such a big kitchen to cook as well? Okay, for prep work, perhaps. But a lot of times we also tapao. So I think this is also one of the reasons why the developers are also thinking future audiences. Do we need such a big space for kitchen like in the olden days? I still remember in HDB, I used to grow up in, the kitchen damn big. You can put dining table inside the kitchen some more. All right. Yeah. So those are the days, right? So now things has been compromised. There's certain adjustment. I think that will work. All right. So even with this, so again, you come in, living hall. Hey, this is the normal configuration, man. Normal configuration. Then you go straight into your balcony. So you can treat this entire area, right, as as your whole living and dining space. Okay, if you want to shift your dining outwards, although they already give you a breakfast counter, later I'll share with you what are some other kind of reconfiguration you can do. And this is one of the way you do your living hall. Then your TV screen is here, and then your dining towards your balcony, and your kitchen is tucked in on one side. So I think there's also some people who commented that, hey, the kitchen beside your bedroom, is it going to be a concern? So if you have seen as many layouts as I have, it's not really a big concern, because this is how you want to kind of balance out. You want a living and a dining, then your kitchen has to be tucked in somewhere. Although if you ask me, between these two, the C1 layout is more functional. It's definitely more functional. And a C2 layout is like you come in to the kitchen, then you go to your rooms. It does seems a little bit weird, in the beginning, but hey, there's only these two layout, and the view is also tremendous for this. That's why they use as their show flat to show you how it can be done. Okay, but I'm going to share with you how we can kind of reconfigure it. So let us just use the C1 layout first. Okay, I'm going to show you the C1 layout. So you already seen the C1 configuration. So one way, right, is you flip the whole thing. Instead of you having this area, right, okay, you change this to a full dining, okay, like what we have done here. So you can actually put in even a 10-seater, very long table, and for you to actually house your guests. And you swap your your living area this way. Because a lot of people are very concerned, hey, if I do it, this configuration, all right, if I do the original one, okay, let's say we take a look at this. If you see the original one, hey, then your TV here wouldn't be very weird. All right, then you cannot do your TV here, because it will block the entrance. All right, so this is also something that some people are very concerned about, which is why when I was planning it, I was saying, hey, perhaps this will be another better arrangement. Okay, better arrangement where you can actually have a proper TV, sofa, okay, and a 10-seater dining space layout. And because of the usage of space, now you can actually fit in even a dry pantry. Okay, you can have a dry pantry here, which I believe it will work very well. Because today you have a 10-seater, okay, you have a 10-seater here, and you have a pantry here. So when you want to house guests, you can put your liquor, you can put your wine, you can put your Nespresso machine, everything on this pantry. And I think pantry has become a very norm. They would rather have a big pantry than a big kitchen. I don't know whether any one of you agree. All right, so this pantry, then the whole thing becomes very livable. You see, so there are some of the ideas that sometimes when you just look at layout, you may not have that creativity or perspective, and that's where we are here to help you. So again, let us take a look at the C2 layout. Yeah, I agree. A lot of people say that, hey, like that, is it going to be weird in terms of this layout? So what we have defined it, right, is that we can change it this way. All right. Hey, we swap the living hall as well as the dining around. Okay, we swap them around. And this time around, because of the swap and you have a wider space, okay, you can put a round table. So round table is still functional in today's places, but because of the compact sizes most of us we have, that's why we only buy rectangular table. But if you give it a choice, a round table will also surface, and this will allow you to still have this kind of separation. But the only difference is that if let's say today you have this kind of configuration, the question is, where are you going to put your TV? Or if TV is something that you yield for, then this layout, I think you go back to the original layout will be much better. But today I've seen a lot of my clients in my community, they actually don't have TV at home. But what they have is they turn one room into a TV room instead. Which is, I think it also makes sense. You can put your sound system and everything, and you have an immersive cinematic experience. And I think this is crucial, that it really depends on how your lifestyle is, and then you reconfigure the inside based on what you like. Also, I hope that this also gives you a better understanding, like, hey, today, do I need to be so dead on, like when I see a layout that I'm not comfortable with, right? Or you immediately see the negativity part of it. I believe that there's always a trade-off on certain stuff. Not that the normal layouts are the best. There's also certain trade-offs. It's just that, are you able to recognize those trade-offs? And then when you do a comparison, you can actually make sense of what is best for you. And this is why we do what we do. Okay, not just about your budget, your location, let's go and buy this. Okay, is to kind of see what are the silver linings that we can help you to be clearer in terms of your decision making, and then from there you can decide what you want to do forward. Okay, so let me just draw your attention to even for some of the 3-bedroom premium as well. All right, so 3-bedroom premium, this is where the game change, if you ask me. Okay, the game change here is because why? Because today, I believe that after so many different launches, right, I have not seen a good enough property type that uh, comes with a private lift, comes with a premium developers, and in a good location. It's been a while since we last see uh, such an iconic development like this. So I'm kind of excited uh, to kind of see how the 3 bedroom premiums are going to sell. And I believe after I chat with a lot in my inner community, right, actually they will want to buy this kind above 44th floor instead of going for the normal 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom. And the reason why is because the layout, first of all, is very efficient. It gives you the luxury of, um, I would say, you are able to use your house really for entertainment, or for entertainment, for networking, for housing of friends, if you are into that, and in a prime location. So why do I say so? Because today, right, if you look at their CP1 premium unit, which is coming with a private lift, right, the moment when you enter, right, I think it's very long ago, we used to always see this kind of layout where you come in, your living, your dining, everything is kind of open. Oh, so a lot of times the new ones are limited. Immediately you see your kitchen first. So it's very rare to now get such a tucked away kitchen space. Okay, tucked away kitchen space that you can enjoy for 3 bedroom premium. Most of this kind of layout comes with what? Only for the 4 bedroom types nowadays. 4 bedrooms. So you have the entire space for entertainment. You see. And even here, if you really want to, you can even do your dry pantry and all. Uh, the kind of lifestyle setup, okay, in this entire area. So they have emphasized a lot. If you can see, based on the efficiency of space, this emphasized a lot in the living, the dining space, which they still did not compromise in the bedrooms. The bedroom sizes and the toilets are all still very functional. So this is what I call lifestyle. Today, if let's say you have the ability to own a property, you want to look for layouts like this, okay, that you are not compromising because of size, you're not compromising because of the space, and yet you still enjoy a very comfortable balcony area, or where you can also entertain when your friends come over to really witness the luxurious high floor views and the night view that you have, even sunset view, you see. So this is something that I always truly look out for, that today in a prime location like this, and you are aware that there's going to be competition around, what is your narrative to enter into this property unit, right, to make a difference? At the end of the day, when every property becomes a resale, how does yours stand out in one way or another? So yeah, so this is what we think always whenever we buy a property. Even my own property, whenever we purchase, we always think of the end in mind. Okay, if it makes sense to you, give me a like, put in a comment, and we can actually discuss more if you need help. All right, so this is something that I truly love. Okay, how is it? Of course, the units are from 44th floor to 62th floor, which means it also comes with what? It comes with a premium price tag to it. How premium? I also won't know. I do understand if it's a high floor unit kind of placement, the developer strategy are going to be very, very sensitive about it. Okay, because they cannot command a too high a price on per floor jump. So, but if you find that you need help in that, let us see what we can do, what we can work it out. All right, so CP2 also, this is also another fantastic layout. If you can see, the entire kitchen area is tucked at one side, total privacy that it doesn't go into any of the rooms, and all the configurations are really built to impress. If today you've been looking out for a property and then you really want to impress a lot of your clients, maybe in your business, and you don't want to pay like exorbitant prices somewhere else, I will personally go for this, and I'll go for higher floor, to be honest. Okay, and the luxury of this, I can already see it happening, because for 3 bedroom, it's very rare to get such a premium kind of layout. Or this kind of layout, typically you see more in 4-bedroom. So for you to get a 3-bedroom premium like this, I think this is one of a rare opportunity that you can go for. Or very rare. Easy. And today, let's say we look at 4 bedrooms. Of course, 4 bedrooms, we all know it's also very premium, right? And this 4-bedroom is extremely premium based on how it's been done. Again, they have separated the entire demarcation of your living area versus your living quarters, okay, which is definitely a good touch if you're going to pay for this kind of units above 44th floor. But one of the key things that I want to draw attention is that the kind of landscape layout on a longer balcony space is definitely going to be a change in the market as we move forward. In the prime location like this, the number one reason why you want to own such a high floor unit, unblocked view, very comfortable night view, or even sunset view, is you want your entrance and your grand entrance to be wow. You want that to be. And that's why the 4 bedrooms that they have configured, they have to give you this landscape layout that provides you the kind of lifestyle that the moment when you entertain in the balcony area, can you imagine yourself just sitting around there, sipping a glass of champagne with your friends and just enjoying the night view while you can still use it for entertainment inside the living and the dining area? You see, so this is truly, I believe, something to very wow. Okay, it's a wow factor. And of course, for a 4-bedroom, it comes with everything. So even for the 3-bed premium, do also take note, they also come with utilities, WC. So this is a proper 3-bedroom premium. And the 4-bedroom premium, you don't have. Or if don't have, then something is wrong. So you have your full utility that you can definitely double it up as a storage as well, or a helper's room. So your helper will command the entire area. Okay, definitely you're going to have a helper in this kind of situation. So the configuration, that's why if you see some of the layouts are a little bit weird, is because they have tried to optimize every single layout possible for such a premium product. Also, if you have your 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom, right, you can see the sizes are all very decent. Or in today's standard, actually is called huge. Or in today's standard is called huge. And if I take your master room, especially, is even coming with a walk-in wardrobe. I think this is a definitely good touch. Even if not enough, you can build up another wardrobe somewhere else. And the reason why they're able to optimize a 1,421 square feet unit is because if you realize they have kept their corridors very short. Okay, they try to optimize it by giving you the less wastage of space. So this really tells us that the effectiveness of the developer putting in the effort to try to give out the comparison of the layout. Of course, this is only just one layout. Okay, for 4-bedroom, there's also the TB2 as well as the TB3, which is TB3 is the show flat layout. So if you really want to go in a little bit deeper into the 4-bedroom types and how should you be comparing the layouts to the floor height, to which facing, because there's only that few units, then we need to be very laser focused in understanding what's the need. So also I want to kind of give you a quick overview about like how are the prices in comparison to the neighbors. You see, because today you are not just buying a premium product, not just buying a product in River Valley. You're buying into also the high advantage, especially if you're going for the luxury above 44th floor units. Okay, the Orwell Hill residences, if you're talking about, let's say we just use a 3-bedroom as a starting price point, is already commanding $3,000 per square foot. And in Promenade Peak, if we base on their starting price from 2,600 plus onwards, right, likely you are hovering about the 30th floor range. Alright, and you'll be definitely lesser than 2.6 million, but you're getting 30th floor. Okay, so you need to kind of see that from another perspective. Avenue, of course, is freehold. That's why the price gap is always so big. But is it worth to pay that 700,000, 800, 900,000 price gap just because it's a freehold? And potentially, I'm also enjoying the same perks of the area and in exchange for that, I go for higher floor, right? Does it make sense? So these are all the comparison you need to do, not just about the property that you want to buy, but also resale as well as new launches, to understand where the parameters are to make a better informed decision. All right. So that's why the Avenue, even for Rivervale, you can see some of the prices here. You see, so we're using a lot of all this price point because there's so much data that we are compiling. We're using our AI model to really guide through all our clients in our private consult to get them understand what is happening. And with that, right, like, let me just flash this very quickly, that what we have done is to kind of show you the comparison between Promenade Peak as well as some of the property prices nearby. So if you want to kind of allow us to guide you through this kind of pricing when we are doing comparison, do just put into the chat group, or maybe just put in a comment, or maybe later on I'll flash my QR code. You can just scan and reach out and say that, hey, I want to do a comparison between Promenade Peak as well as the others, so that you can see it clearer before you make an informed decision. Or maybe you have really planned that you wanted to go down to visit the show flat. You want to reach out to us, and then we can guide you through, and we share with you what are the research that we've done so far. Because we not only done the sale, we also have done the rental pricing as well, so that you have a good guide. So for those of you who are interested, remember we already did the price matrix that we can guide you through on the day. But more importantly, I also want to share with you what are the perks of following us on our community in the REI method, because we don't only just bring you to purchase. There's a lot of preparation that we will do beforehand. Right? Before the ballot, there's a lot of preparation that we'll be doing to helping you to secure a slot. So there's a lot of all this preparation done. And even prior to the actual ballot day, we will provide you real-time updates. All right, we will start doing comparison, like, okay, what are the range of pricing that we should be exploring? Because the better we are prepared, the less kanchong we are. Okay, the less kanchong we are. So we always plan way ahead for you. And even if, let's say, the pricing on the actual day is incorrect, we will be telling you to walk off if it's really exorbitant, because we won't know, right? But you have to work with us. You have to work with us in the sense that we have to kind of work together in terms of all this preparation. Give us time. You have to come in time, then we can work together on this. Like, for example, like for AASK, right? He has been looking to buy investment property, but tackled but lacked the confidence and assurance of entering the property market until they met us. You see, and for him, of course, he watched a lot of my videos. So if you have not watched any of my videos, maybe you can go and kind of preview some of them. And for him, his philosophy has always been data-driven approach. And our role is to kind of add in a lot more criteria to lower down your risk as much as possible. Okay. I mean, not that we can do zero risk. There's nothing called zero risk, but certain parameters, I believe, if we know it lowers down, it helps us to be safer. Okay. And during then, I remember I was traveling in Europe, and it was a totally different time zone, right? And I still managed to wake up at 3 or 4 a.m. To share with them the different strategies of identifying areas of transformation and buying the property at the right price. So it was like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. that I went through the session with them. And because I was overseas, so I need to have somebody in Singapore to kind of help in that process. But the idea of the research is the most important. Okay, the research is the most important. And even though I'm overseas, I walked them through with them the entire details. Okay, and they eventually felt secure in their investment. So the key thing is that the property that we selected for ASK, right, was something that they have not even considered before, because they have been trying balloting all the new launches, right? But they have not understand that there's actually other projects, that developments that is perhaps better for their objective, maybe even undervalued, their hidden gems. But because you are so consumed by what is happening right now, that you may miss out some opportunities out there. So our role is not to blind you, okay, in the wrong word, not to blind you, but is to open your eyes, help you to open your eyes bigger, and to start seeing, okay, could there be other opportunities out there besides what is happening? But if let's say you find that at the end of the day, a Promenade Peak is still the better one, okay, let's go for it. But wouldn't you want to have some options before you decide to buy, and perhaps have a second opinion whether is this the right property that you want to go for? You see, so this is I think key important part. All right. So how many of you actually would like to actually have the same experience that we have done for ASK? And we don't just stop there. All right. The moment when you come on board with us in this into our community, right? Even for post-purchase follow-ups, we will continue. And even during construction phases, we'll updating you. We'll be keeping updates on like where is it, what's our stages. So at least you know what's happening with your property. And at the end of the day, we always want to review what is happening with you in the 4 years mark right now. What has changed? What has happened to your property? Let us do a review so that you understand where your money is, how your money has grown over time, what's the property value has increased or not. So all these things is a journey that we are looking out for like-minded individuals to work with us so that we can stay on this property journey and for you all to actually adopt the REI method in your property journey. And that's what we are looking out for. All right. So if you find that this is something that you really want to seek a second opinion, Promenade Peak is going to be launched, even for River Green. All right, they're going to be launching on the same day. If today you are confused, you don't know which one to go for, or you're going to go for both, and then you don't know what's the strategy, do scan the QR code and then reach out to us so that we still have time. Okay, we still have time to go through and guide you on the safer route. And you don't want to reach out to us only after you have purchased. I think that is a very risky move. So I don't necessarily encourage that to happen. So if today you find that whatever we are sharing actually do make sense, all right, do also scan the QR code and see how we can actually help you plan a better property journey instead of rushing, instead of guessing yourself and not knowing what is actually happening in the property market. All right. So with that, I really thank you. And don't forget to also like and subscribe to this channel and follow us through in our YouTube channel. I will continuously do more videos. And if there are certain topics that you all find that is interesting or you all want certain clarification on, you can just comment, put in what you all want us to share, and then perhaps I will find time to research and do the video for you. All right.